What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to look at 5 things Kena Bridge of Spirits needs to do to be an amazing game. I've been talking up this game for a very, very long time. The time is almost here. We got another week or so left until the game releases, and I'm very, very excited. It's a day one buy for me, no matter what. But again, these are things that I've kind of picked at over several videos, over the last year or so, and I kind of wanted to put them all into one video. The first thing I'm going to say is an honorable mention. So these are going to be 5 things, but here's an honorable mention, is day one issues not happening. And I know, look, every game normally has like a day one patch. I'm not a big fan, but it's just the way that it is. I would just say for a game like this, digital only, at least at launch, it's only digital. Smaller-ish game. A lot of PlayStation people, a lot of people I see online are really into it, but for it to do well, for it to, for it to come across, I'd say, the right way, we can't have any, day one massive issues where things are like hugely broken, where people are making fun of it online for being basically broken, right? We can't have those things. And I'm saying we as in like I have some part of development, but I would just assume that that's something that's hopefully at the top of their priority list. So that would be an honorable mention. The first main thing is to lean into the visuals, or for the visuals to be good kind of throughout. A lot of this stuff is going to be really consistency as kind of like a key word, right? The game's beautiful. There's no doubt about it. It just needs to kind of be beautiful the entire time. And with that being said, it obviously can't be the same thing over and over and over, which I am going to get to with other aspects of the game that I have written down. But even visually with settings or characters, constantly giving us new stuff is something that's going to be pretty important. This is honestly something that I'm the least worried about with this game, like at all. I'm very impressed, obviously, and I've said it many times before, in terms of how good the game looks. I really have no doubt that that's going to be like a 10 out of 10 thing throughout the entire game, but that's just something to think about. Second thing is gameplay, having good gameplay. We've talked about this before. This is something that I think they have in the bag, but I'm not like 100% sold on it, right? As of the time I'm recording this before the PlayStation showcase, so I don't know if they showed more of it by the time you guys are seeing the video, but either way, the gameplay, obviously you can't just look at a game. Maybe you can for some games, but you have to be able to play it. And we've seen gameplay of this game. It does look pretty good. It definitely, I don't even want to say like it's serviceable, because I do think it's like above that in like the good or even great territory. It just needs to be engaging throughout. That's it's an interesting thing with really any game, right? What keeps you playing? Is it the story and characters? Is it visually? I would say maybe probably that's on the weakest end, right? It could be good to look at, but if it's a horribly written thing, if the performances are bad, if the gameplay sucks and you're not having fun actually playing it, the visuals can only go so far. So that's obviously why gameplay is a very important thing. However, another thing that I just had said, the story. The story needs to be at least solid. So this is the thing that we know, I would say, the least about. Gameplay, you can kind of analyze and figure out what exactly we're going to be doing based off of even the 6 or so, say, minutes that we've seen combined, at least again at the time I'm recording this, of the game. The story, we don't know all that much about. And, I'm not saying that it's going to be, some horribly written story, but it is going to be important to tell a pretty cohesive story. And you know what? Honestly, they have huge potential, because this is literally, I keep talking about, like, I'm a fan of new IPs, like new properties just coming out, because you don't get sequels to these amazing games if you don't have that first building block. Now, I'm not talking immediately about a Kena 2, although I wouldn't say no right now, but the story's gotta be, at least solid, at least to keep us kind of through the entire thing, whether it's a 5-hour game, a 10-hour game. Next thing is characters and story. I was considering, kind of putting them together, but they are, I would say they're different. That's another one. I mean, we kind of, we've heard names, we've seen characters before, kind of here and there, but obviously, when we get into it, I almost look at like a Plague's Tale. If you guys played that game, it's when you like control the rats. I almost look at that game as somewhat of a comparison, right? Kind of indie, but kind of like bigger budget for what you would expect an indie game to be, which is a lot, I would say, like Kena. And honestly, I mean, I just recently played that back in July, and that was a game that, the main characters, very, very solid. Story, they created this world, this environment, all that stuff, kind of a mythos or like a lore. And then they also had a lot of supporting characters that I think, again, well, I would say for that game, really, really helped it. Same thing here. I don't think a character that we've never seen before, right, in Kina, she can just literally carry it. Nah, I guess it's possible she could carry it by herself, but even you look at a game like Uncharted, right, the first Uncharted, I mean, Nathan Drake is the shining star, and we know what happened afterwards, but there's a lot of other characters, especially like Sully, right, having kind of that 1-2 punch, but even Elena and others. So that's something that, to think about as well. Hopefully this game has several characters, right? When we're leaving it, we're saying, well, we like her, like she's a great main character, but I liked this character, that, we can go on from there. The final thing, like I did say kind of earlier, is pacing/consistency. This is the thing that I guess I'm maybe the most worried about, and I have talked about this in the past, where it's like, this is their first game. This is their first game they've ever made. They're normally like a visual effects studio. That's why the visuals of this game look so good. And I'm not saying like I expect the game to be all up and down. However, when I'm thinking about, we've talked about review scores, we talked about like what will people think when they actually play the game, and we see the whole thing. That is maybe the biggest concern of mine, where it's like you can make anything look good in a 5-minute presentation. You can make anything look good in a trailer, right? I mean, unless the project is just like absolute garbage, you can definitely make it good. And I'm not saying, by the way, like this is a huge like hoax and like they've been fooling us like for the entire time. But for a studio that's this is the first time with story, with characters, with environment, with gameplay. Even though I'm generally a really big fan of almost all those things with this game, it is possible when we get it, it's maybe like front heavy, right? Like you get into the world and you love it so much, but it's like that first initial impact, and then the rest of the game, it just kind of is not the same consistency as the beginning. Obviously, that's hard. Even if it's a 5-hour game, if it's a 10-hour game, it's very hard to hold the bar at like a very, very high standard. That's what makes great games great, right? Is that they do it kind of consistently throughout, or they have very few things wrong with them or very few drop-offs. That's difficult, and especially for like a first game that the studio's made. So I would say, of all the things I've ever talked about with this game, that's honestly my biggest concern is, can they put it all together for however long this game is going to be. At the end of the day, these are concerns of mine. These are, again, things that I hope that they pull off, and that these games, that this game is going to be a really awesome game. But again, I've always talked very highly of this game. This game is a day one buy and day one play for me. I am so insanely excited. Maybe that will hurt it because I am so excited, but you know what? That's okay. That's okay, because they got me locked under their spell, and I'm already going to give them money, no matter what. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What are some things you're looking to or maybe worried about with this game? Make sure, if you haven't already, you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on. If you want to follow me over on Twitter, or subscribe to my second channel, or support us on Patreon or YouTube memberships, links for all of those things are in the description below. I will be covering Kina more. We've done it plenty already, but obviously when the game comes out, there'll be tons of videos on the channel on the game, okay? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video.